Looks like we're live, and I'd like to welcome everybody who's decided to take a little bit out of their Memorial Day weekend to spend some time with me. This is the first one I've done, so hopefully everything will go smoothly. If it doesn't, it's the first time I've done one. Hey, Corey, good to see you. Hey, Sherry, it's good to see you. It's funny on this end, I have about a 5-second delay of what I say versus what the camera picks up. So I'm actually in the past as far as you're concerned. But we'll try to see how this works by the end of this. Hopefully everybody's got a good Memorial Day weekend going. Good to see you here. We're going to give it a couple minutes to see if we get other people joining to let you know about what I've got going on and why I decided to host a Facebook Live to talk about it. If you follow me on Facebook, you might know that I do have a blog. It's called hollyworks.com, and I'll post the link here. I'll be saying something about that in a minute, about what's being posted there. But I generally put stories and thoughts and other things on there that I think might be interesting, funny, or important. And always welcome feedback on that blog or on Facebook. Or if I post something funny, that you like it. And if you don't think it's funny, that at least you're merciful on the comments. So to Sherry, did you have any weather during the 500 yesterday? I didn't get to see it on television, but that's one of the things I remember about Indiana is trying to listen to the 500 on radio if I couldn't make it in person. Well, let's go ahead and let you know why I decided to host a Facebook Live. If you hang around me long enough, you know that I tell stories, and I try to make them funny or interesting if possible. And the one thing I try to do is to make sure that they're true. And there's a story I have that's been rolling around for the past few years. And every time I tell it, somebody says, you need to put that in a book. And I thought, sure, why not? It's an interesting idea. But I'm not a writer. Why would I put together a book? But over time, I've told the story enough times and found that people got enough out of it that I've decided to put together a book. And I've got the first chapter out there, and I'll be publishing it at the end of this Facebook Live. But my plan is to release a chapter on the blog every week until I get the book done. And by being public and being accountable about it is one way to make sure that I write the book. The book's called Get Out the Door, and it's a story of what happened to me back in 2004, where I won't give everything away, but I had a fairly serious motorcycle accident. And before they could figure out whether I was going to walk again, I had a lot of things to think about. Hey, Pam, how are you? Good to see some other folks joining here. But the story is called Get Out the Door. Back in 2004, I had a motorcycle accident and fractured my L2 vertebra. And from the x-rays that the doctors took from being immobilized for 2 days before they did surgery, one of the things that the doctors told me before they put me under was that they didn't know if I was going to walk again. that's something that will make you think. After 6 hours of surgery, 9 days in critical care, and being shipped off to rehab for 3 months in the hospital, I had to learn to stand and walk and do all sorts of things all over again. And if you've been around me at all since 2004, you know that I can walk, I can run, I can do lots of things. And I went from being able to take one step in the hospital to walking down to the next mailbox. Then from walking to the next mailbox down to the end of the street. And after over a few years, that was something, but I wanted to do more. And back in 2012, I kind of hit a crisis point to say I don't like being where I am, and I decided to run. One of the questions that I asked the doctor was, can I run? And he said, yeah, if somebody's chasing you. So I tried to find lots of people to chase me. And over a few months, I went from jogging 60 feet to running my first 5K. And over the next year and a half, hey, John, hey, Teresa, good to see you. Over the next year and a half, I went from running a 5K to running a half marathon. And once I ran the half marathon in Indianapolis, I thought, if I can do a half, why can't I do a full? So over the next year, I worked from going from running a half marathon to running a full marathon. And in 2014, I did a bunch of things to celebrate the 10-year anniversary of the accident. I ran up the Empire State Building. I finished 2 triathlons. I rode in a bike ride called the Assault on Mount Mitchell. And I finished the Marine Corps Marathon. I wasn't fast in any of these. I am not an athlete. You wouldn't mistake me for one. But I learned that it was never about running a marathon. It was always about getting out the door. And once I got out the door, everything else was easy. So that's what I decided to write the book about. And the first chapter is up on my blog, and I'll post a link later on here. And I'm looking for feedback. I'm looking for comments. I'm looking for ways to make this book useful to the people who might read it. Because most people will not have gone through what I did, which was a devastating motorcycle accident and learning to walk again. But everybody has obstacles that they run into. They have things that are frustrating for them. They have goals that may seem too big to go after. And what I found, it was never about going after the big goal. It was about getting out the door. Every day I would get up, I would get out the door, I would go for my run, I'd recover from it, and then I'd make bigger goals for the next time. And over a year, I went from running a half marathon to running a full. But over that 10-year period, I went from learning to take that first step. And that's what the book's going to be about. The first chapter's up there. I'm committing to writing a chapter every week. And what I'll be doing is I'll be posting the chapter to Facebook or posting it to my blog, letting people on Facebook know, and then coming on live to let you folks give me comments or feedback or ask questions about the process of writing the book or the process of going from learning to walk to running a marathon. And that's why I'm here. I don't plan to spend too long today, just to plan to introduce the book, give you a link, and answer any questions that you might have. So that's the story. As I've told people when they say, wow, that happened, I said, yeah, it's an incredible story, and it happens to be true. And what I challenge the folks here listening or who read the book or read the chapters or give me feedback is that you have stories too. And it's important that you learn to tell your stories and what the big idea is behind them. And that's why I'm doing this. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm just going to go ahead and publish this, and it should be visible in just a few seconds if my technology works as well as it's expected to. Okay, it says it's there. So let me see if it is, in fact, live. There it is. So I'm going to give you a couple links. Okay, the first link is the blog page itself. Hey, Teresa, good to see you. Hey, Sam Connor, good to see you. Hey, Brenda, welcome to the live broadcast, I think this is. So there's the link to my blog, and there's the link to the first chapter. And if you go to hollyworks.com each week, you'll see the new chapter, but I'll also post the specific chapter links as we go. And that's the plan. I'm happy to answer any questions about the book or the journey as we go. I'd like to thank everybody for coming in to join me here and taking time out of their Memorial Day in the United States or just their normal work day, if you're somewhere else on the planet, and spending a few minutes with me. I'm sure there'll be lots of technology challenges that I have here. I'm just learning how to do Facebook Live. I just learned how to use a green screen, so that's not my office behind me. That's my office behind me. Learning how to use lighting. And one of the cool things about using a green screen is you don't have to clean up the office before you go live. So that's what I'm doing, and I'm happy to answer any questions about the book or the journey or about Facebook Live because I don't know any more than anybody else does, but I'm happy to take a shot at it. Other than that, I'd like to thank everybody for coming in. I really appreciate you coming in live. I'm going to be doing it again next week. I have to pick a fixed day of the week so everybody knows when it's going to be. It'll probably be on Sundays, but I'll post that in advance and try to put it at a fixed time, which will force me to make sure that the writing is done before I go live, because I don't want to come here and say, hey guys, I planned to write a chapter, but I skipped out on it. That's part of the challenge to me, is to write this book, is to get the writing down there, even if it's not perfect, because it's not going to be perfect the first time out of the box. That's what I'm looking for feedback on. That's why I'll be working with an editor to make sure that the book says what I'd like for it to say, and that it's useful for the people who may read it. So with that, I'm going to thank everybody for coming in live today. I will repost the links to the blog and to the first chapter. If you have comments or feedback, feel free to reach me on my page here on Facebook. I'm on LinkedIn. I'm on my blog at hollyworks.com. And I hope you all have a very good rest of the day and wish you a good Memorial Day in the United States and a great rest of the week. And I will see you next week here on Facebook Live and talk to you about Chapter 2 of Get Out the Door. So thanks for now, and I hope to see you online. Bye for now.